Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Get comfy. spread your legs and fly.
Let's get out there and spread your legs. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Marital Issues, a podcast in which a husband and wife discuss comics and movies and video games and TV shows and pretty much anything else that comes to mind. My name is Tom, and with me, as always, is my co-host and wife, Dee.
Hey, hey, hey.
I like that you're mixing it up each week. This is going to be your new weekly challenge.
Yeah, I think... How
many different
ways
ways
can I say hi?
So how are you on this last recording session in this flat?
I'm excited about the podcast we're making tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of sad that we're going to have to let it go for a month. Because we've got ourselves into a situation where we're doing it every week. We've got ourselves into a pattern. We've got ourselves into a momentum. And it's going to be really hard to come back to that. Yes, we've got ourselves into a routine. But it's not like I say to myself, oh, on Sunday at midday, I'm going to read my comic. Or whatever. It's just something, you set a task, or we set ourselves tasks. And we get on with it. And I like what we're doing. And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss doing what we're doing at this moment in time.
Well, we're not taking a break too long, but we're going to go stay with your parents for a month. But while we're there, we did say we were going to catch up on all our TV.
Yeah.
And then do a couple of podcasts from your parents' house.
Well,
because we've recorded enough for at least until we move in.
Yes.
Because right now it's the 22nd of April?
April, yeah.
22nd of April. So by that point, by the time you guys are listening to this, we are in our new flat. Fingers crossed nothing's gone wrong.
Yeah, and we'll be able to, do you know what, I'm actually looking forward to doing things more currently.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at today's news, looking at today's this week's information, maybe, trailers, etc. and kind of keeping it current. And that I'm looking forward to without having to look at things in advance.
I like that we don't have these time-dependent subjects.
Yeah, that's true.
I like the fact that we're very leisurely. We'll read something that everybody else has already read already.
Or we watch something that most people have already seen and gush about it afterwards.
one of the because of that whole doing everything, we do old properties.
Yeah, we do.
Or we do recent properties, but by the time it goes out, it's got a bit of an age to it. And it was because of that I I thought we could call our podcast The Late Review. But then I assumed I imagine there's a lot of people out there who have podcasts called The Late Review.
Or The Late something or other, yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines. Plus I like marital issues.
Yeah, I do too, because we're a married couple. So many connotations to it, and we're a married couple and we like it.
Yeah, and also
we have issues.
I wonder how many people who listen to our podcast came to our podcast because they're having marital issues. But now they're like, oh, comics and stuff. Cool.
See, you can have fun with your partner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's all about, and we like it, and we enjoy it, and we introduce each other to things, and it's a lot of fun.
But what have you been up to this week?
I Hate Fairyland.
Yay! I know. I saw you giggling away in the corner of the sofa. Just.
It's great. I wasn't quite sure of it when I first picked it up, but then I read the rest of it and I thought, oh my god, this is so funny.
Was it a bit weird? It's a bit of a...
It's a weird one, yeah. It's definitely weird.
It's a bit of an adjustment. It's a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, I think that's why I thought it was I couldn't get into it at the beginning. Because it's Fairyland, and when you think of Fairyland, you think of princesses, you think pretty, you don't think gore, guts, and diabetes.
It's turning the genre on its head.
Yeah, it's great. Skottie Young's artwork's amazing, but you're a big fan of his anyway.
Yes. Yeah, he's been working for a long time, and that's the first book he's ever written and drawn all on his own. Somebody else did the colour. The colour is wonderful.
Oh god, it's so bright and so vibrant.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Skottie Young artwork is either monochromatic or just beautifully coloured. It's never sort of it's never anywhere in between. It's just beautiful. It's
Yeah.
very extreme visually.
Yeah.
And it's so expressive. I love his artwork because it's all in the eyes. Like Queen Claudia.
Claudia.
Yeah.
Because it's actually
She's
spelled
a cloud.
cloud.
Yeah, because she's the Queen of Cloud.
Yes.
Queen Claudia. If you look at her eyes, when she's talking to her subjects and she's being the good queen, her eyes have a very particular look.
Yeah, they're very gentle and very soft in the way they're drawn.
Yeah, and then when she
talks about Gertie, oh my God.
Yeah, they become psychopathic.
Yeah, I think there's this one moment in there where her eyes actually go red.
Okay, before we go into that, for the listeners at home, give a rundown of the story.
So it's about a little girl, 8 years old, called Gertie, that's been basically pulled in to a fairy.
She makes a wish.
She makes a wish. Yeah, she makes a wish, like wish upon a star, as fairy tales start, and she gets pulled into Fairyland, and she has a quest to get back to the normal world.
It's a very Wizard of Oz type quest.
Do you know what? I actually thought that when I finished reading it, but it's very Wizard of Oz. So basically, she has to find a key to get back home. And she has to follow the quest and follow it all. But she's now been there 27 years, gone through puberty.
But no, she hasn't aged.
But she has not aged.
So she hasn't gone through puberty?
No, but mentally she has.
Yeah, well, so she went through like a mental puberty.
Yeah, because think about what she's like when she's in the bar.
Now she's cynical and jaded.
And she
angry.
she wants to swear, but she can't swear.
Yeah,
And
I love that. Every time she tries to swear.
It's such a pretty language. Fluffy.
But now she's become so psychopathic that she just kills pretty much everyone in her path. So the Queen sends out whoever she can.
For which it's a huntsman, then it's a witch, and then it's herself.
Yeah, it's all the tropes. Basically.
Yeah, basically, so all the tropes, and then she, towards the end, she meets like the big bad death guy that kills everybody, and it's basically
they get on really well.
Yeah,
it's been about a year since I read it. So
she's the daughter he never had.
Oh yeah,
is the term he used. Which is fantastic.
He's kind of like Trigon.
Yeah, he's like, do you know what? That's exactly what I thought, Trigon.
But like Teen Titans Go Trigon.
Yeah. It's fantastic. And the Queen Claudia is the sweetest little lady you can think of, but she is psychopathic. She does not like Gertie at all.
Yeah, it's like Gertie's like the fly in the ointment.
Yeah.
Because Fairyland is supposed to be pretty and sweet and saccharine and she is this but
after 27 years I think it's a bit psycho, wouldn't you?
It's too much of a good thing, isn't it? That's what's happened to her. It's like she's lived there for so long that, and I love
she can't take it either.
I love there's that line in there where where I just want to be able to ask directions and get a straight answer and not like a haiku.
Yeah. Best line.
One of my favorite things about that book is that every chapter starts with a new narrator.
Yeah, and
by about 2 pages later, then Gertie kills that narrator.
No, actually, Larry kills one or two of them as well.
Oh yeah. Larry because Larry is her
like a firefly.
The Queen tasks Larry as being her
conscious, Jimmy
guide as well. Yeah, you're conscious, but he's to guide her through Fairyland on her quest. But 27 years later, he's like a cigar smoking, just done with all this shit kind of guy.
And kind of knows Gertie and exactly what she's going to do.
Yeah,
but he kind of enables her as well.
But he's this cute little firefly, this cartoon.
But he doesn't look so cute later on.
Yeah, he looks like Bob
jaded.
Hoskins.
Yes.
he looks like Bob. Whoops, excuse me, that was my chair. That was he looked like Bob Hoskins in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's sort of like, ugh.
And then and Claudia can't actually kill Gertie. She has to go through the quest because it's one of the laws of the land.
Yeah.
And the only way that she can kill Gertie is by having another human being, a human child, do the quest and close the door.
That's it. And
then you get happy.
Because basically her quest overrides Gertie's quest. Like resets everything, and then
and she becomes a citizen of Fairyland.
Yes,
where now Claudia can kill her.
They're not allowed to harm. They're not allowed to harm
she's protected
visitors.
Because she's actually protected by a spell.
And it becomes this really epic battle between her and Happy.
Yeah. And you do. I mean, you meet Happy first, and Happy completely decimates Gertie.
Yes.
So, like, she's knocked
But
out
then that's
for a
when
few
Gertie
days.
gets teams up with the
Yeah, just after that.
Yeah.
Just after that, she teams up with him, but with Death Guy. I can't remember the character's name, but it's Death in it somewhere along the line. But and then you've got Larry in the background, so she's knocked out by Happy at this point. Through unicorns and rainbows, even though Gertie just puts everything at her, nothing happens, and she's knocked out for a few days. And then you just see Larry live this life. You know, there's that episode. There's that episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, no, I remember. You just see her just lying in the same space, and he meets another fairy, a firefly, and they fall in love. Yeah, then she leaves. All of this happening right next to Gertie as she's passed out.
Oh, and the thing is, there's no passage of time. So that could have in Fairyland, that could have just been like 2 hours or something.
Okay, but he has a long life because he's Gertie's minder, but maybe that was a firefly's lifespan. It was. But then Gertie, while she's passed out, she gets that really long beard.
Yeah, I wonder where on earth did Gertie get a beard from? It's 8 years old. But then there's that bit. Okay, so if we go back to the beginning.
Oh, that was my ankle.
Oh, that was your ankle. If you go back to the beginning of it, it's there's a great scene inside a bar.
Mm.
And she's basically just drinking, and you've got to think about it. This is the weirdest part of this. This is what I can't get my head around, and this is just really bizarre. Where you've got an 8-year-old drinking alcohol and being kind of sexually suggestive.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
A bit weird.
But then he does take great pains to keep reminding you that she's not actually 8.
Yeah, I mean...
It doesn't go anywhere.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't go anywhere whatsoever. But she's given a wish at this point, and she wishes to be what she would be like at her age. Yes. And then she becomes this big, fat, sugary blob.
With she doesn't even have fingers. She just has these bulbous hands with these little
and eyes, things. And just eyes.
Oh, yeah, the eyes, the eyes. Oh my god. So I can't remember where we were. So we had some technical problems with trying out a new setup again. Mm-hmm. I loved as well that she's still wearing that same outfit she was kidnapped in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she never just picked up armor or anything like that.
And Larry's great as, he basically just lets her do it, because he knows that even if he says something, she's not going to listen. Hmm. So he just lets her get on with it and just okay, fine.
Yeah, they've been doing it long enough for her to know. So is it something you want to read more of?
Yes, I loved it. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was fun, it was funny, and she definitely got what she deserved at the end. Yeah,
because at the end, she
gets the key.
She gets her key, but in doing so, she kills Queen Claudia and becomes Queen of Fairyland. Queen of Fairyland, and thus cannot leave Fairyland. She's stuck there forever. Which I thought was a brilliant twist. It's an absolute brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic.
Her triumph turned into a failure.
Yeah. Which is a great kind of thing on life as well, if you think about it. That sometimes you can get so far, but it can be your failure.
Or what you...
what you believe is triumph.
Or just sometimes beating your enemy isn't a triumph.
No, exactly.
Doesn't lead to triumph. Maybe we're just reading too much into it.
Maybe we're just adulting right now.
Yeah. I find it interesting because he actually did the artwork to a Wizard of Oz adaptation, graphic novel adaptation, and it is gorgeous. Mm. It has his very definite style, but he stays away from the sort of the macabre or the grotesque and stuff. Obviously, it's just beautifully drawn.
I'd like to see that.
I have shown you some of it, but and obviously he did I Hate Fairyland after doing the Wizard of Oz adaptation, because he's still currently working on more I Hate Fairyland. So I wonder if I Hate Fairyland was the sort of a reaction to that? Was there a point during working on The Wizard of Oz where he just got really frustrated and angry with the work he was doing?
You could definitely see the influence of Wizard of Oz and how the characters kind of gel and how they all mix together and stuff. But yeah, do you know what? That's a really interesting point.
Maybe
and I'd go crazy.
I wonder as well if is it?
I'm not saying Skottie Young's crazy. I'm just saying that where he took that story is.
Maybe. Well, I mean, he is a bit crazy, but in like a really nice way.
Nice way, yeah.
You know, I follow him on Instagram as well, and he's just this very sweet, weird man, and he just him and his family. But there's a part of me that wonders if while he was working on Wizard of Oz, was there something about the process that made him think like, this is all bullshit? or was it just a kind of like, wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah. Do you know what? I hope it's the latter.
Yeah.
I really, really hope it's the latter.
Because, I mean, like, the guys who do, like, Naked Gun and stuff, they don't look at cop dramas and cop shows and films like that and go, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
They just look at it and go, this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a really dated reference there. Naked Gun. Back when the piss take parody films were actually funny.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them now, though. Is
that better?
Yeah.
I feel like there's something wrong with. Do you know what? When we move, I want to sit down for like a day and just really work out the audio setup. Just like none of this farting around. Just like boom. But the thing is, I've noticed in all my years of audio recording. You can get the most perfect setup, and you can mark it all down. Just write down all those numbers, where all the dials are, mark it, glue it in place, right? And have everything measured perfectly. And then do that exact setup the next time, and something will be off. And then you'll spend
20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes.
You'll spend ages. Just sometimes even like you never get it right ever again. You just fart around and nothing ever seems right.
But there's those moments when you know, with most things there's a sweet spot, and you get to that sweet spot, and sometimes the second time round you can never get there.
Yeah. It's like foreplay, really. Doing the exact same motions every time. It's not you're not always going to get the exact same
reaction
or outcome. Yeah. No, but I rubbed in circular motion 73 times last time, and now I'm on 77, and she still hasn't reacted.
Okay, so you tell me, what have you been up to?
I actually read, as you know, you bought me a copy.
I did.
Of Gotham by Gaslight yesterday, and I read it this afternoon.
And what do you think?
It's really good.
Yeah.
I can understand. I see why it's so kind of revered.
Mm-hmm. Because you were telling me it was like one of the very first Elsewhere stories.
Well, it was the first. It was the prototype Elseworld story because they didn't have the Elseworld imprint at that point, and then they started doing these kind of alternate history stories, and then the Elseworlds imprint came out of that, and then that was sort of retconned as part of.
Is it a good direction for DC? Do you think it was kind of?
It was interesting because.
Excuse me.
It was interesting because when you read Elseworld stories, all if not most of the characters you know are there. There's a version of them. There's some facsimile of them in this timeline.
Right.
But in Gotham by Gaslight, for the most part, a lot of the names, I really found myself searching the memory banks going, I don't know that name from sort of Batman mythology. There's a lot of...
So did you find... Okay, so it sounds like there's a bit of a disconnect between the Batman universe and the universe of that particular Elseworld story.
Yeah, because like I was saying, this wasn't an Elseworlds story. It was... They had an idea to just write... Oh, wouldn't it be cool if Batman was in Victorian-era Gotham?
Which they've actually made quite London-y.
Well, I mean, if you look at a lot of those kind of East Coast cities around the Victorian time, they were...
quite similar.
Yeah, they were very similar. I mean, cities, certain,
Yeah, there are certain cities that actually
there were just certain, it's just
certain buildings and stuff.
Because this is sort of a proto-Elseworlds story.
Yeah.
Before they'd worked out the Elseworlds formula, you've got Batman, you've got Alfred, you've got Gordon.
Joker, isn't it?
Well, there's mention of Joker.
Oh, okay.
There's mention of Joker. But beyond that, there are one or two names that come up every now and then, but for like Dent is mentioned in a panel. God, I can't remember his name, but he was like one of the main underworld villains in the animated series. Remember the one with the white hair? Thorn. Rupert Thorn.
Yeah.
Rupert Thorn is in there, but again, only mentioned.
Oh, okay.
And only in a couple of pages. And for the most part, everybody else feels like an original character or such an obscure character that I've never come across them, or if I have, I don't remember them.
That doesn't sound... Because we've watched the animation of it.
Yeah, we watched the animated film, and...
Yeah. And there's a lot of references
well, there's
to
no Selena Kyle in this.
Yeah.
And in this... Okay, what they did in the film is the book itself is actually two stories.
Oh, okay.
And the first story is personal to Bruce, and the second story is about... Because in the second story starts, he's found his parents' killer, spoiler alert, so his personal mission is over. And so he's now hung up the cape and cowl. And the second story deals with him trying to figure out if there's more he can do as Batman.
Right.
Not just a personal vendetta, but also a mission to protect Gotham. And that's what the second story becomes about. And in that, he actually has a fiancée.
Oh.
But there's no Selena Kyle, there's no Pamela Isley, there's no Hugo Strange, there's not even like Bullock. But then again, Bullock was created for the animated series, and this was done before the animated series. This was done in the 90s. But what they did with the film is the sort of outline of the... Because you remember the film, it follows him trying to find Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
And it ends at that kind of World Trade Fair thing.
Yeah.
At night, and they basically destroy it with fire.
Yeah.
Well, that's both those stories put into one.
Oh.
The first story deals with him just trying to find Jack the Ripper. And then the second story, and Jack the Ripper turns out to be his parents' killer as well. And then the second story involves this exhibition thing that's going to happen. And it is destroyed by fire, but the fire comes about because of the villain of that story.
Oh.
He torches it using like a villainous super weapon from a airship. And his name is Leroy, or they call it, one of the uncultured Americans call him Leroy, but it's actually a French name. I can't remember it. But again, I'm looking at this guy and I'm wondering, is this someone... Am I missing something? Is this actually quite a well-known Batman character, but I'm just not catching certain details, so I can't quite see who it is? Because he has a robot Joker, like a robot clown, steampunk clown, who's his best friend, and I don't know. It's really enjoyable, but I spent way too much time reading that story trying to figure out, who is that person? Is that supposed to be someone from the Batman canon? Because I think at the time, when this came out, before all the Elseworld stuff, if I'd read it then, even though I probably would have only been about 3 or 4 at the time, I probably wouldn't have been looking for all of those connections all the time. I would have just been enjoying the ride.
Yeah. But because you were looking for those connections, were you looking for those connections because we watched the movie, is it because you know that Batman universe so well?
I was looking for those connections because that's generally how Elseworld stories work.
Oh, fair enough.
You take all of the supporting characters in that particular universe or world or whatever, and you reimagine them.
Yeah.
But like I said before, they hadn't really... because this isn't actually an Elseworlds story, it doesn't fit to the Elseworlds formula, because the Elseworlds formula kind of came about later.
Yeah.
So I think if I mean, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I read it in like an hour and a half.
So do you think you want to read it again to see
Yeah.
whether or not you see those connections and whether or not...
No, I think I want to read it again just to see if just enjoy it as itself.
Right, fair enough.
I think what it is you and I, and we have this problem where we're constantly looking for connections rather than just enjoying things
something
as they are. And I think it's just because you and I, we
watch way too much YouTube.
Well, we watch way too many things that do connect to other things.
Yeah, we do,
that
definitely.
are part of bigger stories that are connected to
Yeah,
bigger
we
things.
do.
I mean, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and look at Avatar and Korra.
Yeah.
Look at, like, literally every... I think that's the problem with reboots and...
offshoots as well.
Reboots and cinematic universes and side quills and offshoots and blah, blah, blah. We watch so many things now that are so connected to everything else that we find ourselves constantly looking for connections to other things.
That's true. That is very true.
But it was interesting as well in this book because the first half is drawn by Mike Mignola, who created Hellboy, and it works perfectly because it's this very moody, very gloomy Gotham, mostly at night, and Bruce is in a very dark place as well because he's just becoming Batman. He's going on his mission of vengeance.
So it's like it sounds like it's very much a origin story.
Oh yeah, no, it's basically year one, but in Victorian times.
Yeah.
But this time his big villain is Jack the Ripper, who just happens to be the person who killed his parents. But then the second book, the artwork is so much lighter and so much, dare I say it, prettier. But I think that's because that's reflective of the story, because Bruce is in a very different place now. He's hung up the cape and cowl, he's engaged, he's a much happier man. He wonders if Gotham even needs him, and then this supervillain, like it is literally the first supervillain, he crashes a town hall meeting and makes threats to the mayor and then disappears. And it's all. And most of the second half actually takes place during the day as well. So it makes sense that they used a different artist. They didn't use this dark and moody artist like Mike Mignola. I can't remember which artist it was. No. I should have made a note of the artist, but like I only read it this afternoon and.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a bit. I think as well that I don't think the film was as good an adaptation as it could have been after reading the book.
Yeah, I mean we when we watched the movie, we liked it up until a point, and then it was completely ruined.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't like that twist ending.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't like that twist ending, but even without that twist ending, the only improvement on the book I can tell was having Selina Kyle in there, because she was a really good foil for Batman.
Yeah.
Or for Bruce Wayne. And, you remember Selina knows his secret.
Yes.
In the film.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce's fiancée knows his secret, but he doesn't know she knows his secret.
Ooh, okay.
But she supports him.
Okay.
It's not like this nefarious...
there's no twist with
there
her.
There is a happy end. There is, spoiler alert, but it does end pretty much happy ever after for Bruce and his fiancée, whose name I think is Julie. I can't... Again, this is the problem as well, because there are so many original characters, and I only read it this afternoon. I can't remember most of the other characters' names. But yeah, it was overall. I'm glad I got it. Thank you for buying it for me.
You're most welcome. Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
It was one that caught my eye a couple of days ago, and I thought, I need to get that for you.
And then you looked on the same shelf and couldn't find it. You looked on the same shelf 15 times and couldn't find it. And as soon as you walked away, I was like, oh, there it is. God knows how it managed to catch your eye the other day when it was on the second floor, hidden between a bunch of other books. You must have some bloody good eyes when you're just walking past bookshops.
But yeah, that was good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad I bought it. Sounds like something I need to read.
Oh, I would definitely read it, but I'd say give it a year or so, because I've just spoiled all the major points for you. So wait until you forget everything I said in this podcast, and then give it a read.
It's our main topic for this evening.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think we've talked enough about those things?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think, do you know what's great about this week? We've both enjoyed the two different aspects of the comic book world we've read.
Yeah,
you went not mainstream, but that mainstream way, and I kind of read an indie comic, which was kind of cool and fun. And
I mean, anything to put off actually packing.
Yeah, I think that was the reason why, to be honest. Delays in packing.
Yeah, we haven't packed a single thing, and we move out in
a week.
1 week. 1 week.
Our stuff has to be packed by this time, or morning of this day next week.
Yeah,
they're coming about 10:00.
Really?
Yeah.
What? To inspect or the?
No. The
all right, we shouldn't really be discussing this on the podcast. This is the problem with you. Why only you haven't told me a single thing about this, and then you decide to bring it up while recording a podcast.
Because we're talking about it now. Anywho,
yeah, I mean, we've been avoiding it any way we can, from like replaying GTA 5
and
and some Skyrim. But no Assassin's Creed. We haven't finished Origins yet, and we just do not want to go back to it.
No, we don't.
Which was a really nice segue into our main topic this week.
That was really good, actually.
Which is Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. And what went wrong?
I don't want to talk about what went wrong.
No, it's not about that.
This is why before recording this, I was in two minds about whether or not I even wanted to talk about this subject. Because I really don't want to talk about what went wrong.
Go on then, let's talk about what we love.
Yeah, let's talk about what we
love.
We'll go through each of the games as we know, because there's a couple of ones on like the PSP and stuff.
Yeah,
I never played, and I never played like the Rogue one, I think it was called.
Yeah, we didn't play Rogue.
Where the guy went from being an assassin to being a Templar. We never played that. There's a couple I haven't played. I played the main. We've played the main ones.
Yeah, main story ones.
Okay, but I've never played the first one. I played a bit of the first one because I played the second one first.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just bought my Xbox, and I was trying to get back into gaming after taking like a 10, almost 15-year break from it. And
you bought the Xbox for yourself, though, didn't you? For
Christmas present. It was a Christmas present.
There we go.
And I didn't know what games to get, so somebody was like, "Oh, just get Assassin's Creed 2. It's really good." And what do you know? It was really, really good. And after I finished it, I tried to play the first one, but it's never a good idea to go backwards with games because, you know, with each iteration they work out
little
the clunkiness
and
and so when I tried to play the first game, I found it so difficult because it was I didn't have like there's this thing in the first game, I hope I'm remembering it correctly, where if there are guards nearby and you start running, the guards will look at you and be like, "Hey, what's that guy up to?" From what I remember, you had to, if there were any guards anywhere, you basically had to sneak around no matter what you were doing. I think I'm remembering it correctly, and that's what I found really frustrating.
Right.
So I just went back and played number 2 again.
Number 2 you've played quite a few times.
I think number 2 I've played
most.
Assassin's Creed 2 I think I've played more times than any other game since going back to gaming.
But it's such a complete game. And, you know, when you introduced that to me when we were dating and we were watching it and I was watching you play it was just such an endearing game, and it's really... It's got
a very sweet story. It's a
bittersweet story, yeah. I mean, you know, where it starts off, but it's Ezio. It's the character that makes that game.
Yeah, I think
have to admit.
Ezio is one of the better generic brown-haired white dudes in gaming.
Yeah. I mean, he's funny and he's sweet, he's charming, and he's a lover, he's a fighter, the thing is, so many different things.
That whole story is quite charming.
Yeah, it is.
I love his relationship with his mom. I mean, at the beginning, when his mom was still talking, like, you need an outlet, Ezio. He goes, "Mother, I have outlets. I mean, besides vagina." And he's like, "Oh, Mom." one of the things that put me off of going back to gaming initially was the sheer number of games in which just out of nowhere suddenly monsters.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what kind of mission you're on, no matter what kind of world you're in, no matter what kind of level you're doing, out of nowhere, monsters. So...
Is it zombies or monsters?
Just monsters, zombies, whatever. Just something undead that takes a lot of work to take down. That was kind of in vogue at the time. So I remember one of the first time I was doing one of the... You remember the Assassin Seal missions?
Yeah.
Where you get the seal, you get 6 of them, and then you get Altair's outfit.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I did one of those seal ones, I was creeping. I was creeping so slow.
Oh,
because I was just waiting for suddenly monsters. And then when I came out of that and out of the other end and no monsters had jumped out, that's when I was like, okay. That's when I was like, okay, cool. I think I can get into this game now.
Oh, brilliant.
And I just find the Assassin's Creed stories as a whole, they can be quite dense.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of stuff to take in. But Assassin's Creed 2 had one of the best stories. It was really easy to follow. First of all. It was really easy to know.
It was basically a revenge story, isn't it?
But the plot he follows.
Yeah.
You know, because he is literally just a list of people who were involved in the murder of his parents.
Yes.
Or his brother and his brothers and his father.
Yeah.
And that, you know, there is this big political web.
When you get to with Borgia and...
This web of intrigue. But ultimately, he's just working through a list of people who wronged him.
And he's always kind of... when he kills them, he's quite merciful in what he does.
Oh yeah, he does the last rites.
Rites, yeah, exactly.
He does the last rites, and he's very respectful. But then that's something his uncle Mario
taught him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time he killed one of the first? It was one of the Borgia sons. Was it Borgia? One of the later games. Either way, I remember what he looks like. He's got that kind of 90s floppy hairstyle and a black cape. But he's like, oh, bastardo! And, you know, stabbing the shit out of him. And then Mario's like, no, we must show them respect even in death. And he does that whole requiescat, pace thing.
Yeah. So what's great about that one particular game is the atmosphere of Italy. And how you've got the NPCs and how they just talk to you just randomly.
What was it?
My favourite.
What's our favourite one? He must be late.
And she must be beautiful. I love that.
But there's this actually interesting detail they have in the Assassin's Creed. I don't know if it followed through with all the other games as much. It does here and there. I noticed, especially like in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But at dusk and dawn, you can pretty much run the roofs uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Because the guards are changing, and I know they point that out in one of the loading menus.
Yeah, because they say that because if you're doing a mission, it's one of the best times. Yeah.
But but I just think that is an interesting detail to put. I mean, they didn't have to put in that detail. It could have just been constant. It could have just been a constant guarding thing.
They didn't need to even think about that, really.
Like, screw it. Like,
leave it. No, as gamers, we wouldn't really have noticed it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that annoyed me later on in Assassin's Creed games is how every assassin that we follow, every one of Desmond Miles's ancestors, seem to just rub elbows with every famous historical figure. But with Assassin's Creed 2, that made a little bit more sense because it wasn't just, oh hey, I'm meeting this famous historical figure and that and I'm just going to help them and make friends with them and da da da. No, he gets to know them.
Or he gets to
know them because they are assassins, or they're involved with the assassins,
or they need them
like
for
Machiavelli.
And the inventor.
Leonardo. And one of the reasons Leonardo is in the story is because, you know, obviously Ezio's family are assassins. That means his mother is an assassin as well. And the assassins took an interest in Leonardo da Vinci. So that's why... So it makes all of these famous historical figures in Ezio's life make a hell of a lot more sense
Yeah.
than you just happen to get off at that boat and, oh, look who you bumped into.
Okay, so that's our favourite game in terms of that whole trilogy. In
The
Ezio
trilogy.
Yeah, that trilogy in itself is definitely the best out of the lot. I mean, except
Brotherhood
for
and Revelation. Brotherhood and Revelations, they were a bit of a letdown in that they felt a little bit hollow.
Yeah.
But they had great bits about them.
Yes.
I think if they took all the best bits of Brotherhood and all the best bits of Revelations and made one complete game out of that, that would have been one kick-ass fucking game.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really need to make... Brotherhood was really short as well. As far as I remember, it was short.
It was quite
felt
short. Yeah. I think it was because it was all set in one city.
Yeah.
I think what was great
think
about...
I've missed that. But we missed that, didn't we? When we went into the later games, we kind of missed not being able to go to... all the other various cities.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed 2, it was big.
Yeah,
it had a lot of locations. I mean, it probably was about the same... I mean, they're probably all around the same size, but just...
It just felt different.
Just the sheer number of environments made it feel a lot bigger.
That's it. The environments did.
Because Venice...
Which is your favourite?
Yeah, I love Venice. I love Venice. Do you know, Venice... One year, Venice actually helped me get through a really particularly hot summer. Oh, I've told you this story.
Let them know.
Well, I was living in this flat in... Not Stoke Newington. Stamford Hill.
Right.
Well, between Stoke Newington and Stamford Hill. But it was like this bedsit. But my room was right at the top. So all the heat from the rest of the flats came up to my flat. So my flat was fucking hot. And plus... the wind, I had a west-facing window.
Oh, so you had the wind.
And also the sun would just beat through there. And the only thing that got me through the particularly hot days when it was too hot to go out and too hot to stay in and stuff, I would get, you know that towel, that head towel you have?
Yeah.
I used to get that. The only reason I bought that, I used to have a whole bunch of them. The only reason I bought those was just to get through that summer. I would soak them in freezing cold water and then wear them one after the other. But my head would heat them up really fast, so I'd have to keep changing them over. But I would sit there on my sofa with one of these on my head, just swimming through the canals of Venice in Assassin's Creed 2. And just be like, that looks so lovely and cool. It's the only thing that got me through. I didn't have anyone to go to public pools with, because everyone was like busy and working, because I was the only one who worked not 9 till 5, it was actually 7 till 3. But I was the only one who actually worked Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Everybody else had all these, did shift patterns. So none of my friends were ever available, so that was my only break. It was like, I'll just swim through the Venetian canals.
But you made it.
Yeah, I survived.
I'm sure you've done that. When we were living at Lichfield Court, or maybe at my mum's, it was like...
Yep.
I'm sure.
No, it was especially at your parents'.
Yeah, because it was, oh God, the summer
so
there
hot,
got to get really warm, but it's warm there all the time anyway. They're old, leave them alone, they get cold.
They're old and they get cold, so they've got to have the heating on all the time.
I love my parents.
They're not listening. You don't have to worry.
You never know, they might just get like a whisper in there for some reason, they just know everything.
Yeah.
Somehow.
But yeah, no, the follow-ups to that game, like I said, we've said enough about the Ezio Trilogy.
Yeah, so, okay.
And then there was number 3, and number 3 was... Number 3 was boring. Not only was the historical period... Because, okay, I just wanted to... Yeah,
I currently have my eyes closed right now, because it's just one of those games.
I'm not going to say that period of history was boring, but that period of history is boring for a game like Assassin's Creed. Yeah,
because there's no buildings.
Well, it's not just that. It's just, I think it was Yahtzee at Zero Punctuation. He said it best. The closer we get to modern history, the more politics becomes less about stabbing and more about talking.
Yes.
You're right. There were no buildings. The environments weren't right, so they gave you trees to run around in. But even then,
okay. So they gave you trees to run around with and animals to kill.
Yeah, but you couldn't just kill an animal in self-defense and run away.
No.
Because Connor, he had to do he had to skin everything around all decent. But we said we weren't going to talk about all the ones we don't like.
I know, but this is just one thing.
All right, all right, get it out of your system and then we'll move on.
All right. The worst thing about that game is definitely Connor, though.
Yeah,
because
he is a very boring protagonist.
Character. Yeah, he was just like...
And he has such a boring voice, and he just kind of just mumbles along. And
so, yeah. But, after him...
Yeah, but that game also did introduce the nautical
levels.
Yes,
they did. They did, which were a lot of fun.
Which Ubisoft obviously was like, hey, we're onto something here.
Yeah.
So they brought us Black Flag, which is up there. Assassin's Creed 2... Black Flag is my number 2. I don't know what my number 3 is because I think the rest of the series is number 3. Actually, Syndicate is number 3, and everything else is number 4.
Syndicate isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Right, let's go back to Black Flag though. That's such a great game. Yeah, and the character again.
Edward
Kenway is brilliant, and I mean.
Oh. Going back to number 3.
Go on.
I will say. One of the cooler things about number 3 is the fact that you spend a big chunk of the beginning of the game playing as Haytham Kenway.
Yeah.
And you assume he's an assassin. And you're totally on his side. You get where he's coming from. All of the discussions, you're like, yeah, those bastards. But that's what we're... And then right at the end, they switch it, and it's like, oh shit, these guys are Templars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when they say, may the Father of Understanding guide us. I'm like, oh my god, they're Templars. They're like, twist.
And then we thought we were actually going to be playing as Templars this time round.
But I think that's also... I mean, we'll talk more about it when we talk about the Assassin's Creed film. But the problem with the Assassins and the Templars is their ideologies aren't very dissimilar.
No.
They aren't, it's the same... It's almost like the same ideology with a different perspective.
Yeah.
And it works in a game like that because you can have your players playing as the bad guys without knowing it, completely sympathizing with the bad guys, and then no, it's like that. What were their names? The guy did Peep Show, Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like that Mitchell and Webb Nazi sketch where it's like, are we the bad guys? We've got skulls on our hats, and, blood and soil and stuff. That all sounds quite negative. And it just had the same effect of when we were playing as the Templars.
And we didn't really like it at first. We enjoyed playing.
It was quite exciting the first.
Yeah.
Because you're on the ship, and there's a storm, and there is some interesting stuff at the beginning of that game, but the thing is that one twist at the end of the first act is by far the most interesting thing about that whole game. Definitely. And that's not a good sign.
No.
Where a twist, you're playing an interactive thing, and a twist in the story becomes the most interesting thing. Everything else after that is a little bit boring.
I agree.
But we'll go back to Black Flag because it's so much more interesting to talk about.
Well, there is one thing I do miss that I have missed since the second game, though: the glyphs. I love doing those puzzled glyphs. I thought that was a really good way of But
the thing about those glyphs is that that was all part of the Ezio Trilogy, and that was all because you're as
Subject 0 or something.
No. Desmond Miles. You are Subject 17. And it's Subject 16 who's trying to communicate through you. And I remember. And if you remember at the end of number 3, I think they did have some glyph... Yeah, they did have 1 or 2 glyph things in there, but it was really pared down. Because by that point, Subject 16 is... Because he was eradicated from the Animus system at the end of the Ezio Trilogy.
Yeah.
And then Desmond Miles is dead at the end of number 3. And from Black Flag on, you're basically playing as, voiceless, faceless protagonists, in the present.
Back to Black Flag.
Mm-hmm.
And how great... Edward Kenway.
Edward Kenway is Haytham's father, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he's Haytham's father, because he goes back to England with his daughter. Obviously, remarries and has Haytham, who becomes a Templar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we find out in Syndicate that Haytham Haytham killed Edward.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because Edward's the first character who becomes a part of the Assassins because...
purely by accident, really.
Well, no, he doesn't do it by accident. He schemes his way in.
Yeah.
He finds out that this guy is
meeting
part
this
of
party.
But it turns out that the guy whose identity is taken, he was planning on betraying the Assassins.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of serendipitous that Edward took his place, because had he not, then that guy's plan with the Templars would have gone through, and they would have had the observatory.
And the apple.
Well, no, it was the observatory and that weird cube thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what's his name? Because they introduced the guy with the blue eyes and the green eye, the Sage.
That's it, the Sage.
Suddenly there's this whole new element to the assassin. And I still can't figure out where the whole Sage thing fits in.
They didn't really explain it very well, though.
But Edward, played by John Constantine,
yes.
Matt Ryan. And it's funny because now I watch Constantine and I can't not see Edward.
Yeah, I agree. It's like every time I hear his voice, that's all I can see.
But, I mean, they did mocap, so he looks like Matt Ryan as well.
Yeah, totally.
And he was a really good-looking assassin as well. He was such a rogue, such a cad.
He was. And he was just such a... I mean, he was a man's man. He was a proper British man in that regard.
He was blokey.
Yeah, he was a blokey.
Bloke.
He really was. But that whole thing about him when he becomes an assassin and then becomes a pirate...
There's a lot about his character, because he does all those flashbacks with him and his wife.
Mm.
And there's a lot about his character that I can relate to. Because the only reason he becomes a pirate in the first place is because he wants a better life. You know, he's tired of living in these creaky shacks and eating food that makes him sick. Not that we live in a creaky shack and eat food that makes us sick.
No,
but,
we don't.
You know, this whole idea of
trying to do something for your family.
Yeah, there's dissatisfaction with what you're providing your family. It's something every time I play it, I relate to it, because I mean that's why we do these projects.
Yeah.
Because we have our jobs, and our jobs are our jobs, but they're not. It's not. I want a little bit more meat in life, you know. We want
to be a bit more satisfied with what we're doing and how we go about doing that, and where we get to. Having
something that brings you a little bit more enrichment in life.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying we want to be pirates, but with the book we're writing and the animation projects and everything like that, that's me sailing the creative high seas and trying to find something better.
And that's all he wants, really. He just wants to find something better. Which he does at the end. If you think about it, he goes back to London and...
Yeah, I mean, but it becomes greed.
Yes,
he wants it so much that it becomes greed. Yeah. And it's only when William, who turns out to be Mary, sets him straight that wanting something more, wanting something better, becomes less about greed and more about being a better person.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing. He goes about it in a really...
Because you got to remember that whole story when it came to William or Mary was that he did the wrong thing by the assassins at that point.
Out of greed.
Out of greed. That's what he wanted. So she basically just pulled him on towards the right path in a roundabout sort of way.
First she was like, clean up your mess.
Mess, yeah.
And now we can offer you a better path. Yeah.
But that's true in life as well. If you got to clean up the rubbish before you...
Yeah, you got to clean your mess before you can... Yeah. But they had some... I just loved sailing around the Caribbean.
It was a lot of fun to do that, though. And then trying to chase them down, though.
Yeah, and every now and then... Sometimes you just want to sail around, and sometimes you want to just be a pirate.
We used to love blowing up all the ships and just go.
I used to love going for the Man of Wars.
Yeah.
That was like.
But that was only when you upgraded your ship, because you'd stay away from them up until that point.
Oh yeah, no, I just run away. Oh no, run away!
And then you had the ghost ship as well.
But as well, I think one of the problems we had with I think it was like Brotherhood, is that's when they introduced the whole tower mechanism. You know, where you had the map and every section of the map was run by a tower.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing in Black Flag, but at least in Black Flag it was a little bit more fun and interesting because they had the forts.
Yeah.
And he first had to sail around it and blow up all the towers and things, and then climb,
once you've blown up all the towers, you had to try get onto the land and then go and find the
lieutenant or whatever, and kill him. And it's like, and the flag goes down, and now you've got a new port.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great in the way that you also get your fellow pirates to join you on your ship. You kind of take over a ship, take all the loot, and then I think I'll hire you now.
Yeah, it's like you can either use it to repair your ship or just recruit the survivors.
Or have the ship to go on your missions, like those side missions that you had.
The thing is, I love the use of the word recruit, because you're essentially shanghaiing them. Yeah. You know, you're basically saying, work for me or you die. It's like cake or death.
Cake, always cake.
I asked for the chicken, actually. But I always find, like, the Assassin's Creed games, the final missions generally are the same thing, and they are always quite anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Other than Assassin's Creed 2, where you basically have to beat up a fat old man. But the rest of them, they have like that weird ancient technology thing that you got to climb, and there's probably some light beams that you have to avoid, and maybe there's a guy in the middle using it, and you have to beat him up systematically.
Yeah.
And they never feel really all that climactic.
No.
There's no... It always feels a bit sort of...
Flat.
Yeah,
it does.
flat, because
you work so hard to get there.
Yeah, and at the same time, there's no difference between that and every other boss dude that you've had to beat up. It's the same mechanism. There's no pomp and circumstance. There's no like climactic run out of the place and it's exploding, and maybe throw in a couple of quick time events or whatever just to give it that...
To give it a bit more energy than it originally had, because you're right, it is kind of, like I said, it is flat.
You button mash your way out of it.
Yeah.
Because I found that with Syndicate, which even though I really like Syndicate, that final boss where you have to take turns as Jacob and Evie trying to get to that guy.
Yes.
And he keeps having those light barriers come at you, and you've got to use the terrain to avoid them. But they basically, you just have to keep going to him, making your way to him, beat him up for a bit, get thrown to the other side of the room, and do it all over again, but keep taking it in turns.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Syndicate.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Syndicate was a lot of fun to play once we understood the mechanics. It took us ages to figure out exactly what we were going to try, how to go about. I mean, we didn't even know we had to get on the train to do the missions so that we could clear the areas, don't go back to the train.
You're talking about because we figured out how to play the game. Like, we figured out how to use the character, but then we couldn't really figure out how the rest of the game worked for quite a while.
It's like, how do you do this? And the fact that you had to go back to the train kind of ruined it a little.
Well, you didn't necessarily. You had to switch. You had to switch on the chapter.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird. You had to actually go there to look at the board and go, all right, start that chapter. Yeah. And then all the missions for that chapter came up. And there was this really weird point where you could pick between chapter 4 or chapter 8. Yeah. It was like, just circumvent the rest of the game and go straight for chapter 8. But I like Syndicate not only because it's set in London, though we did find at first we were totally enamoured with London. And you remember, we were doing that Twitch live stream. Yeah. And we're working out the map, like, hang on.
But St Paul's, isn't that
funny? Yeah, you were using all your London road knowledge at this point, going, no, that's that road, and that road but that road's not there, and you're like naming all these roads. And we're like, no way is Whitechapel station.
That close.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah.
hang on. Between Whitechapel and King's Cross, you've got that bit. Where is that bit? And all they did is they took like their favourite landmark.
Marks, yeah. They kind of put it in a general area and didn't actually take the real math of English of London.
You were going to say Britain then,
Yeah, I
weren't you?
was. I was going to say England.
That just shows how provincial you are. You're like, London is Britain.
Yeah, but yeah, the way
Then
the map works with London isn't what I expected.
But then
it to be.
people in Venice probably think the same
Yeah,
thing.
but we had that
People
conversation.
in Florence probably
yeah.
think the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's exactly the same. Like the thought. I mean, they obviously couldn't put the whole of London into it. That would probably be maybe too much in terms of.
It's a bit naive. Well, it's a bit naive of us to think that that's the layout of Florence, and that's the layout of Rome, and that's the layout of Constantinople, and that's the layout of Boston. I'm not sure how the Caribbean is set up, but I'm pretty sure that people who know that area quite well are looking at that map going, huh?
Yeah, totally. So it makes sense in
Yeah,
terms
so it's a bit naive of us to think like, wait, this isn't London.
But in saying that, you kind of would expect it because of the technology and what's available now in comparison to what it was the first time round.
Put it this way, London is probably quite a bit smaller than Skyrim.
Yeah. What, in real life or just in terms of the game?
I mean, look at the Skyrim map.
Yeah.
And look at the map of London. I'm pretty sure the map of London can fit in a Skyrim
probably.
map.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Because this isn't the first time we've had London in games as well. There was a game called The Getaway way back
I don't
when
know that game.
on the PS2.
Right.
And it was a bit of a massive disappointment because it was delayed severely, and by the time it came out, when it came out, it became very apparent very quickly that this was actually a PS1 game that they just delayed and maybe cleaned up some of the graphics, and it was a terrible game. All the cars operated like they were rubber balls, like they bounced. They were rubber balls or bricks. Those were the only two types of vehicles in that whole game. The buses were bricks and every other car was a rubber ball.
Oh my god.
Which bounced off of everything.
Oh no.
And the map went as far as, when you were heading east, it went as far as Shoreditch Church.
Oh, okay.
And you had the West End and the city. But again, it was all like, that road isn't that short. You can't get from that part of London that quickly.
Yeah.
But this is now, I mean, that game came out in, I think, 2001, 2002, that kind of time.
Wow.
Yeah, and now we're talking this, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate came out, I think, 2015.
I think so, maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking like nearly, we're talking like a 13-year gap.
Yeah.
And the map in Syndicate is not much bigger than the map in The Getaway.
No. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
I think
I'll take your word for it.
I think they just focused on the wrong things. They didn't focus on London, because there's more to London than its landmarks. And there's more to any city than its landmarks.
Definitely.
They're called landmarks for a reason, because they just literally, you go from there to there. That all they do is mark,
your points from A to B.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, like Trafalgar Square is a landmark.
Yes.
But what's interesting about Trafalgar Square is the stuff around it.
Yeah.
And where it goes to, and
it's different routes and places you can go.
Exactly, and there's just around the corner from there. You've got Soho and Carnaby Street.
Yeah.
Carnaby Street, and
a little way down the road is Leicester Square.
Yeah. And they have Covent Garden. But that was it. We were like, no way is Covent Garden that close to King's Cross.
Yeah, it isn't.
It was when we saw the trip from when we saw Covent Garden and King's Cross on the map. That's when we were like, something's off here. But we've spoken for ages about the map. And not really spoken about the characters or anything.
I love Evie. If you're gonna go for characters, I love Evie. I think
know.
she's great.
I think
in comparison to her brother,
Jacob,
yeah,
Jacob's just your typical Assassin's Creed rogue.
but he's so clunky as well.
Yeah, but they probably did that on purpose.
Although, saying that though, we're talking about London and London maps. If we could parkour around London the way they do, oh my god, we would get to work in no time.
With that grapple.
Yeah.
Hook.
I mean, that's the dream. Maybe, one day.
Well, that's it as well. So often we'd be playing and I'd be like, can you imagine just going to work? Imagine going to work like this. But then I do that when we're playing like Arkham games.
Yeah, you do.
I'm just gliding around Gotham, using my grapnel to boost and just glide around. But can you imagine going to work like this? Imagine your morning commute like this.
So yeah, Evie's great.
She's smart.
She's kick-ass, and she's
a much better fighter than Jacob.
Oh god, yeah.
I found her so much easier to... like when we were doing like the boxing matches and stuff, we always did it as Evie because she was just...
She glides and such. It's much more. She dances more than she does actually fight in the way that she does fight.
Her fighting with her is more reminiscent of using Batman in the Arkham games, whereas Jacob is quite heavy.
Yeah, he is.
By this point in the franchise, Jacob's kind of a cliche character.
Yeah,
he's your typical Assassin's Creed protagonist.
Yeah.
You know, he's selfish.
He thinks that, they're all selfish, aren't they? They're all there for their own actual means, but they think they're doing it for the greater good of the people.
Well, he doesn't give a crap
No,
about
he doesn't. He really doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't even believe in the assassins in a way.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, it's part of my heritage. Fine,
Yeah,
I'll go along with it, but I don't really
it's the family
care.
business.
Yeah, he kind of takes that attitude on, doesn't he?
Mm.
And if you look at the way
Evie's all about the cause.
Yeah. I mean, she's doing it for a specific reason. She knows that if the Templars get hold of this particular artifact...
it was a shroud this time
it was
around.
a shroud.
There was a necklace. This is the thing as well. The assassin stories are kind of hard to recount. There's a map and an artifact and a network of people and stuff and historical figures and maybe some anachronisms and and there's a big fight with the boss at the end. I think that's how it goes.
I mean, it's interesting how we go into the Animus though. When you start off with what you're hired as a guy to go, or somebody to go into the Animus. And
well, in Black Flag it's game developers.
Yeah.
And Syndicate, I think you just... Because... Oh, no, do you know what it is? It's because we jumped over Unity. We missed Unity, and Unity started interesting, and then we just got bored and never finished it. And then there's probably something... Because how was it in Unity? What was the modern day setup in Unity?
I can't remember.
Do you know what we forgot to mention as well?
Go on.
Our favourite Easter egg from Black Flag?
Which was?
The connection with Watch Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Which they never followed through on.
No.
We haven't played the second Watch Dogs, but
haven't.
from the fact that no one's brought it up shows that they didn't follow through on that connection between Watch Dogs and the Assassin's Creed. Because in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, there's the head of Abstergo Entertainment, that French-Canadian dude, who mentions that he has a meeting in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then in Watch Dogs, one of your missions is you have to kill
this
a
guy.
dude. What's the organization called that he's working for in Watch Dogs?
Sorry?
Yeah,
is the answer to that question?
It was in my head a minute ago. But now my head just keeps thinking New Order, but that's a band. It's got nothing to do with anything. So yeah, I can't really recall the whole Abstergo setup in Syndicate or Unity. But that whole World War One thing was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And again, we get to play as a strong female protagonist.
Yeah. That's true. Because we're trying to figure out if they were... Was she their ancestor?
No, she's their descendant.
Their
Because
descendant.
they're in Victorian era, and the other one's in
that's it.
World War
One. Yeah.
I think it's like Evie's daughter,
Oh,
granddaughter
or something
like
yeah.
that. But once again, yet again, she runs into every historical figure of the time, like Winston Churchill and in the First World War, and in Victorian time, like Alexander Graham Bell and Sigmund Freud and Charles Darwin. And it's like, what are the odds that all of these people are going to be in London? I mean, okay, there's a good chance they'd be in London, but what are the odds that you would run into each and every one of them and be able to help each and every one of them?
What's great about that game, that particular one, is the fact that we've got the bad guys are both male and female.
Oh,
so
yeah,
red, the guys in the red coats, they're wearing red coats.
Yeah, they start in red and then they go green.
When
they join you.
But they were male and female, and that was great.
And the women were generally snipers.
Yes.
Or those hardcore ones they were like captains, and they were generally quite tough. Yeah, I
thought that was a really great touch.
I mean, it only took them by this point like 8 games, but whatever, it's all good. But then again, in Black Flag, there weren't so many. There weren't really female pirates, but when you were infiltrating like the assassin order,
there were lots of females in the assassins. Yeah, that's true.
Not really many elsewhere.
No. No. Was it Jacob that follows the girl? And then every time he follows the girl, he got caught. So
No. You're thinking of Arno in Unity.
Oh, okay.
Because half of that game is him just chasing his childhood sweetheart.
That one game. There's so many bits in that game that just randomly come into my head.
Yeah, the thing is that could have been a really good game, but it was just, I don't know, there were so many weird elements thrown into there. Like every time he kills someone, he gets like this psychic connection.
Yeah.
But then they brought that back in Origins.
Yeah.
Every time
which we haven't actually finished.
Bayek kills someone.
Yeah.
He gets this like weird psychic thing
which we never saw in any other game.
There's also this weird thing in Syndicate as well, when every time they killed a target, they'd be crouching over the target's body, but the target would be like walking around them just monologuing, like, "Whoa, you! I did some stuff and things and blah blah blah, and how dare you kill me?" and then they'd die.
Yeah, that's
true.
They
did that weird thing where they wipe the blood from their throat, and then just put it in their pocket. Like, do they have just like drawers full of bloodied handkerchiefs?
That'd be like Dexter.
Yeah.
When he takes a little bit of blood and puts it on a plate and then just puts it inside his
Is that it? Are they actually serial killers with a mission? Because they explore the idea in the film. Remember, there's a gene that makes them predisposed to violence.
Yes.
So is that what's happening there? They're actually like, assassins are actually serial killers throughout history, but they just have a mission, so they can scratch their serial killer itch.
Oh, that's brilliant. Do you know what that could do?
I'm going to do a video about that. Are assassins actually serial killers?
Yeah.
Serial killers with a purpose. Do you want to talk Origins, or...?
We haven't really finished Origins, though.
Yeah.
It's, again, it's a bit like Unity, where we kind of just played a few... We actually played it on stream, mainly. So it's not like we've had a chance to sit down.
Problem. We just did it on stream most of the time, and there's too much Skyriming about. And you can't do the missions you want to do until you've leveled up and things like that. I think my problem with Origins is it feels too much like work. Yeah,
it's too big. I mean, you've got to, like you said, I mean, Syndicate had that where you had to level up to go into the different parts of London.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like you were choring about the place.
No, and the missions you did were quite fun.
And the maps are so vast in Origins that you spend a lot of your time just travelling.
Yeah. And you don't have anything.
And it's
not
gorgeous.
Like
it's a gorgeous game, but that doesn't make up for the amount of grind you have to do.
I was actually looking forward to a bit more fighty kind of trying to make your way through
really
it.
Sold it on its combat.
Yeah.
I think they've just gone too much in an RPG. Like, that's why I keep saying Skyrim when I'm talking about Origins, because it just felt like they were looking at what Bethesda were doing and was like,
oh, maybe we could nick that idea.
Yeah, let's get us some skill trees and shit.
But is that just Ubisoft stealing?
I think they just focus too much on the open world thing and not enough on without considering how much grind you have to do to get from one mission to the next to the next. Half the work you do in that game is just trying to get to the next mission.
Yeah.
Because the fast travel system obviously you can't use fast travel until you've got to where you need to go, which is kind of pointless. I mean, it works in Skyrim, but in this you don't really have to keep going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in Skyrim you go from one mission and then you can fast travel to another place and you kind of discover places and
and there are reoccurring places that you keep going back to. So
exactly.
Fast travel works, but from what I found in that game is the fast travel system was pointless because you were basically travelling through to get to another place.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get to that other place until you cleared. It was just like, it was just too much work. Right.
You don't really want to work when you're playing a game, do you?
Exactly.
No.
So that's it for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's it. That's enough for Assassin's Creed. We've got it off our chest now. I have a feeling
this is going to be the least popular or whatever of all the podcasts. A year from now, no matter how many people are listening to our podcast, I imagine if we look at the analytics of this episode, it's going to be still the least popular one.
It's a bit of a mishmash, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, because people are just going to be like, oh, screw Assassin's Creed. This is a boring conversation about a boring franchise. And I know it's a boring franchise, but I love it. I absolutely love the Assassin's Creed franchise. I just want it to get good again.
Yeah. I think that's what we were expecting from Origins. We thought it would get good again.
Ubisoft seems to think that if they just keep cramming more and more stuff into the games, that makes it better. But if they just give you
we need something a bit more streamlined.
Yeah, exactly. Streamlined is a perfect way because focus up on the story, the side quests. Don't give us loads of busy work to do where we've got to collect 50 things from this. From this area and another 75 from that area. It's like it must be hell for like OCD completionists when they look at the sheer list of things that they have to find in games like that. They must just drive them crazy.
I mean, we could be a bit like that though.
Yeah.
Kind of finish.
Certain games. Certain games will give us that.
Yeah.
With most games, we'll consider trying, but then. Like with GTA 5, we tried to find the alien parts. We tried to find the letters, and it was like, oh, no.
No. And I suppose with Skyrim, we definitely won't be finding all those Nirnroot.
The Red Nirnroot, that's still gonna haunt my dreams. Man. What was it? We had to find 50 in that one spot, and we found 49.
Yeah, and there was that one, we could hear it.
Yeah, we could hear it. We just could not find it anywhere. There was this one really dark corner of that cave. It was a gorgeous cave, but after spending like 4 hours walking backwards and forwards in this cave.
We actually got the map out and said, okay, we've been to that spot. And we
found a map online where all the Nirnroot were marked out. Oh, man. That brings back memories.
All right. So, with regards to this being our last podcast until we come back to it when we move, what are you hoping we can do over our break?
Well, we are one of the things we said, we were going to watch a lot of stuff, so we'll be able to talk about more of the shows that we like.
Saying that, I did watch the first episode of Lost in Space, which is really good, after you watched it.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'd like to go back to that, but I'd like to watch that together.
Okay, cool.
I think definitely one we can watch.
We can talk about it properly. I want to catch up on some bits, but I also want to spend some time prepping stuff for the videos. I'm going to be writing some scripts for videos for my channel. I'm going to be finessing some of the animation assets for our channel. So I want to start using some animation on our channel. But yeah, mostly I just want to just take some time to get my ducks in a row as far as creatively, because I'd like us to go back to our book as well. We got very far with working on our book.
We did, didn't we? And I've kind of missed that.
Yeah, so have I. Oh, did you hear that? Our little man's coughing quite bad. We'll have to wrap this up.
Yeah, indeed.
But before we do, how about you tell me what's happening in Liverpool
So
this week?
Today we played West Brom and we drew. We were winning, but then we drew 2-2. So a bit of a disappointing one. But then we've got Champions League on Tuesday. And that is the one I'm looking forward to. The most interesting point about football this week is Arsene Wenger leaving Arsenal after 22 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know.
22 years.
Yeah, what a time.
Wow. I was. I'm not going to show my age.
No, don't do that.
Wait, no, it's got to be longer than 20.
No, it's 22 years. He's been there 22 years.
No. No, because there's something... No, because
Fergie was at Man U for about
13.
Yeah.
22 years ago, right? I turned 13 in South Africa. And I remember Arsene Wenger coming to Arsenal when I was still living in Hackney before moving to South Africa.
Really? No,
Yeah.
not from what I've known. 20. I'm sure it's 22
I'm going to double
years.
check this. I'm going to double check.
Go and double check it. He's going to fact check me now. No, and do you know what? That would be so embarrassing if I've got that wrong. I'm sure it's 22 years though.
How? There's a weird time loop thing going on now.
Why?
Because it was in August 1996. So I must be remembering hearing that news for the first time. Very wrong. Because
So I'm right.
I arrived in South Africa on the 1st of January 1996. And for some reason, I recall hearing that news standing in the living room of our flat in Frampton Park Estate. And thinking, Arsene Wenger, Arsenal? Did they choose him because of his name?
Bit of a wise decision by Arsenal at the time.
Oh, wow. So I apologise. I got that completely wrong. Maybe it was some other great big football news. Saying that, though, that was a period in my life when I actually followed football, living in Frampton Park Estate. So there was probably a lot of football news I heard for the first time standing in that living room. So I'm probably just mishmashing it all together.
Yeah, but say for me,
so I apologise.
That's all right. I take that apology. Yay! I'm only saying that because it means I got that right.
Oh, right, okay. You're not saying yay because you've got me to apologise.
No. So I'm thinking, hold on, I'm sure my facts are right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Arsene Wenger leaving. That's the most interesting thing. So next...
Off subject, Vern Troyer just died.
Yeah.
Wow.
Another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was...
I
I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm gonna go watch like Austin Powers again.
No, I mean,
I wasn't like that, but you know, I was sort of like, oh shit, man, that's
sad.
That's not cool.
No, I mean he went through quite a bit of addiction and stuff like that, and he was on the road to recovery, but we don't really know what goes on, do we?
No, fair enough.
So there was that. But yes, that's a shame.
So going back to your original question earlier, because I planned on covering all of that after Liverpool news. Because Liverpool news, we go intro and chat. Your homework, what we've been up to, main subject, Liverpool news, and then closing thing. Because
go on.
I was going to say there's going to be no homework this week because we're moving and stuff.
We are, yeah.
But we were going to have joint homework.
Go on.
And watch all the stuff.
Yes. Yes. So
homework comes after football news. You see? You see?
So so give me a list of things we're looking forward to watching. And I've already said one.
I would like us to sit down and watch Mars Attacks together.
Okay.
To find out if you
if I actually didn't like it.
Still hate it. But it would be interesting if you do still hate it, because it would be more a conversation as opposed to me just talking for like most of the time and you just reacting and just...
Well, Look, like I said last time when we first spoke about this, I went to the cinema to watch it and just thought, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is boring.
We don't need to have the conversation now.
No, I know. But I mean, yeah, you're right. It would be interesting to see if my view changes.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of things you can read while we're moving it, while we're
I'm
at your
sure.
phones. So we'll keep a couple of books out just for that. But then again, I have a ton of digital stuff you can read.
Yeah,
Like
digital.
the entire Batman back catalogue.
Yeah, I don't think I can get through that in a month.
I think you should read at least the first couple. From like
1960.
No, from 1938.
Do I have to go that far back?
No,
I think
1939.
39.
Yeah.
Oh, is it 39?
38
Yeah,
was Superman.
But you see, I've read a couple of the comics of that era, and it just doesn't feel right sometimes.
Gotta do it.
Hmm.
I might get you to read some of the O'Neill stuff from the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go.
Well, cool. So the next time you hear us, which, if we do this all right, it will be next week, but we will be in a different location. We'll be at the in-laws.
Yes.
So yeah, you can.
I'm looking forward to see how we're going to set up then.
Yeah.
If you like this and you'd like to support us on Patreon, go to our Patreon channel, link down below.
It'll make the next time we have to move a lot easier.
Oh God, yeah.
Or it's just patreon.com, the French-Patels. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Frenchy Balls.
I'm at Amara_secrets.
You can find us on Twitch at the French Spectacular, just French Spectacular.
And then on Facebook at My Semi Spectacular Art.
But I will say there's going to be things are going to be a bit dormant for a little while, so so follow, subscribe, whatever it is on those things, and so you'll see us when we go live again, which will be sort of mid to late June.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, all things go to plan.
So yeah, it's been fun starting this recording journey in this flat. So.
Yeah, it has. We're going to say sorry. It's going to be a sad day when we leave this flat, but bigger and better things ahead.
It's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of tantrums.
Are you just talking about yourself there?
Yeah. I was actually going to say, but you know how to pull me into line, so it's all good. So yeah. So,
All right. See you soon, guys.
Bye.